Welcome everyone to our Take Charge of Your Life discussion today. We're glad you're here. Our focus is really self-mastery and living an abundant life while living into our fullest potential. I'm Roberta. I'm a holistic health practitioner. I do nutrition response testing and quantum nutrition testing, and I'm also an elite mentorship trainer, certified under Peter Sage, along with Tish, my co-host.
I'm Tish. My business is called Growth Centric Living. I'm a mindset trainer and personal transformation guide. Like Roberta, also certified and trained under our mentor, Mr. Peter Sage.
And just a little background of Peter. He's a globally recognized human behavior expert. He's an author and a motivational speaker. Really, his focus is giving us that opportunity to have self-mastery in our life, to really modify our direction of travel and renew our mindset into a way that we can live empowered, and with the concepts that we'll be sharing in our talk today. He's a 6-time TED Talk speaker and a best-selling author. His contribution to the personal growth industry is really considered the gold standard in personal transformation, and he has over 4,200 Trustpilot reviews at a 4.9 star rating. So, and we can put that link in the below the video too, so that you can check out yourself some of what people are saying about him. He's quite a dynamic soul. His mission really is to provide individuals with mindset and tools necessary for personal growth and success, empowering each of us to achieve our highest potential. So just the structure of our call today, we're going to be providing a framework in mind, body, and soul transformation. We call it Live Empowered, which is the mind piece, Live Healthy, which is our physical body and how that is impacted, and then living free from a soul level. So Tish is going to share Peter's 60-second video and introduce our topic.
So this video is called Walk Your Truth, and this really is about the basis and foundation of the transformation work and what we offer to people here, and really learning to listen to your soul. And we're going to give you some tips on how to do that and break this video down into our tips once you listen to it. So authenticity and walking your truth. Here is Peter. Go.
One of the best pieces of advice I ever got from a wise mentor was when he asked me, what goals am I setting? And when I told him, the follow-up question really caught me off guard. He said, are you sure they're really your goals? I said, what do you mean? He said, they sound like goals that you think you want in order to either get certainty or significance or impress somebody or live up to a standard you think your parents want or your brother wants or your teachers want. But what are really your goals? And I see this so often now where people are not actually walking a path of their truth, but they are creating some pseudo-truth that they're buying into, and then wonder why life is struggling by placing them at the bottom of a hill to climb. What I found through 30 years of this work is if you question your goals and come from a place of your truth, not the good opinion of others, that hill flattens out and there's not a door that can stop you or be locked to you when you follow your own true north.
It's incredibly inspiring hearing that again. And when I think about the mind concept of walking that true path, it really does begin with mental clarity. And Peter's such an advocate on asking better questions, right? To really question our mind and see, what path are we on and why are we doing it? Like you said, are we trying to do it because of someone else's expectations of us, or to look good or have a certain image? So knowing what you truly value, desire, and believe, rather than being influenced by society. And even the fear of judgment, I think of, for me, I lived under fear so much that I just had this unconscious belief that everyone was judging me. And I didn't dare try something new because I might be judged. And so that was truly, just so embedded in my conditioning to not step out of the norm, I guess, and not kind of make a spectacle of yourself. And failure, of course, what if I fail? That was the worst feeling of all, is like, I'm not even going to try because I don't trust myself to be able to do it. So yeah, that need to fit in, and not knowing what my authentic path was, and even knowing that I had permission to follow it, because really our society is structured around conditioning us to follow the status quo. I mean, that's the hidden agenda, if you will, or the just how it's evolved. It's not about, going and being your most authentic self, we're encouraged to follow a certain norm in order to get through life.
Yeah, some of it very unintentional, right? As parents or children in school, where you get positive reinforcement, you get these guides about how you're supposed to kind of like follow in line. And without this mindset that we're talking about here in this clarity, it's easy to just end up, being a sheep and following along that path.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I've always been a kind of a rule breaker in a sense, at least internally. Even if I wasn't showing it on the outside, internally, I was rebelling against the societal norms. So I did homeschool my kids, my oldest, for almost all the way through his homeschool years, but just really wanted them to be independent thinkers and, be able to align with who they really are and have that authentic path. And I was very ill-equipped at the time, to even walk my own authentic path, but I was leaning in that direction, and we grew together in that process. So that was a very definitive part of my focus on this. And it's interesting because I didn't really find my path. I mean, I wanted to be a parent, so that was my first dream, and I definitely got to live that out. And that was a tremendous gift. And then it was like, well, what's my second dream? I didn't find till I was 48. So, and that took a lot of just self-inquiry, and just somebody opened me up to the possibility that I could even dream, and that ultimately I was designed for some very specific purpose. And it was really my job to discover what that was. And I had a life coach help me uncover that. And as I opened myself up to the possibility, the universe brought the opportunity across my path very quickly, actually, after I really even, gave myself permission to even think about that I could follow a certain soul path, if you will, or a certain designated design that I would, something that I love, something that I was good at, was my direction. And knowing that it was out there and that I could receive the direction of what that was of course, absolutely life-changing. It changed my whole direction of how, where I went in my life.
My story is similar, but a little bit in finding out late and knowing that you could decide what you wanted. I kind of woke up in my 40s, really, as my life was falling apart, and being like, wait, like, what do I actually want? No one had given me permission, or did I realize that I could think about what I wanted? I knew general things, like I wanted to have a career and a good job, and I wanted to, have a family. That was something that I knew from a very young age, but that was it. That was where my sort of dreaming stopped. And I'm really trying to empower my children. And that is one of my passions for growth-centric living, and why I do this work too, is that I hope they start earlier than I did. I hope that I can empower them with this sort of mindset that you get to pick whatever you want. This is your life. Like, what is it that you want? What is it that you would really like your life to look like? And you can't get it wrong, because it's your life. So even if you change your mind, that doesn't mean that you did it wrong. It just means you changed your mind at that point, that what was aligned with you once is not aligned with you later on. Instead of, spending really 4 or 5 years having to untrain myself and really like convince myself like this was a true, rethinking, remindset that I could even think about me and what I wanted, that was even an option, and then try to figure out what it is that I like. Do I like this? Do I like that? I don't even know what I want my future to look like at that time. So I hope to, empower our audience and our listeners, as well as, for generations to come, that, these are real mindset tips that we're providing for not just you, but also for, generations to come, and those that are following behind us, that we can all realize that living our true path and what setting goals for you is, what we want for everyone. And that's a much better life. Mental mastery, I think you called it.
Yeah.
Way to go.
It's super exciting to not live in a box, when we know there's potential, really when we get, like you said, to your 40s and realize, am I even fulfilled? Like, who am I? What do I want? And I think we get stirred up by design, and it's a good time to, reassess, or any time in our life, of course, but for sure Peter talks about living our life fully, swinging the bat, giving it a go. Like you said, we can't get it wrong. And we're playing the game of life. We're all playing the game of life somehow. And do we want to play a game that truly feeds us and nourishes us and makes our life dynamic and awesome? Or do we want to play the game, someone else told us to play that doesn't align with who we are? So it is an exciting adventure, and I can feel the energy of excitement just talking about it, because it's, to not live in a kind of a trapped, limited world that was just the same old thing every day. It's like, what makes you want to get out of bed every day? Finding that passion really shifted everything for me. And the tip I have for that is asking ourselves, like we talked about, whose dream am I walking toward? It's amazing if we sat down and did a self-inquiry on that and just really start saying, what would I do if there were no limits? Nothing was stopping me at all. Not my belief, not money, not my schedule, not my family. If there was nothing, if I could just be given a get out of whatever I'm in free card and step into something new, what would that look like? And actually sit down and ask yourself and let the ideas come. Be surprised, what will show up if you're listening.
Reminding people not to limit themselves in that, like you said, and know that it's okay if it takes time. For me, it definitely took a while to really massage that and lean in to figure out what it is I like. So start somewhere, ask the question, and then keep asking it to yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that leads us into the body, the live healthy part of our discussion. Peter's mentor's question also applies to how we treat ourselves physically and in regards to our health. You can reframe this question to ask, are you chasing health goals that are truly yours, or ones that you think you should have? In today's society, many people are inauthentically living somebody else's journey. They're striving for certain body types based on trends, and again, the media, following fad diets, forcing exercise routines that don't actually align with themselves personally, instead because they're chasing external expectations, either from the social media and what they think things are supposed to look like, peers and the people that they see around them, or even past identities who they thought they should have been before. So real physical health isn't about performance or appearance. It's about alignment. It's about what feels good in my body. What habits feel good to me? Which ones support my energy, help reflect who I truly am? And this is an area that I've been working throughout my life as well. I've never been one of those, skinny people, though I was a teenager in high school that felt that. And I have some friends that fell victim to some of those eating disorders, etc. But for me, it was about what felt good to me, what aligned. And I've never been on any kind of diet fad, but instead looked for healthier ways. How could I slowly? I know for me, I'm not going to stay on any kind of fad or path. That's just not who I am. The rules and restrictions alone just automatically send my, body into this like Teddy. But how can I slowly improve my health? I know that health is important to me. I want to live a long life. I have kids and I want to be active for grandkids. Those are some of the motivational things that I use to steer my health goals and my questions. And also in teaching my children, God bless my parents, who it was about feeding us and, making sure our bellies were full. I'm one of 6 children, and, my parents, it was about what will everyone eat that won't be a fight. We'll try to get some vegetables in, but for the most part, how can we fill everybody's bellies? And I've just sort of expanded on that throughout my lifetime and learning about what's healthy and trying to feed my kids better, teaching them that food is fuel. It's like putting things into a car. Yes, there are things that taste really good to our tongue, but our body, this is something our body needs in order to be able to function properly. And that has caused lots of, conflict a bit in, but everybody else's lunches look like this, mom. Everyone else has, processed food. And it's hard to combat that. But at the end of the day, even though I feel for them, know in my heart that I am feeding them as well as I can right now. I know that my decisions are not wrong, and I can be confident in those and lean into that.
Yeah, that's definitely my horse is the realm of physical health and making choices that are true to our highest good, I guess, if you will. And we know when we're not aligned with our highest truth with our physical body, because we have all the symptoms to let us know, any symptoms, whether it's fatigue, stress, can't sleep, like you said, weight issues or whatever's not aligned for us. There's always a reference from the body giving us an intelligent feedback, telling us what's not working. So yeah, it is really powerful to align with that and not follow the status quo there, because our health status in our country is out of all the free countries in the world, we're almost at the very bottom. We spend the most, like I said before, on healthcare and pharmaceutical drugs, and we have almost the lowest health status. So it's definitely upside down. And so, yeah, I was the food police in my home too, where just, really, I thought, my point of alignment with that was, if I love someone, I'm not going to feed them something that will harm them over and over and over again. So I just, kind of drew a line in the sand and was able to find alternatives. And yeah, I just kind of stuck to that. I got a lot of resistance too, but now my kids are very aware of, how they want to feel. And now they have the tools to know how to eat, even though it was a challenge when they were teenagers, for sure.
Is a really good point. It's the big picture that kind of keeps you going, right? In that my goal is, yeah, well, my kids go off to university, and I have a daughter who is currently 18 and just starting university. Will she eat, craft dinner and French fries? Probably for a little while, but at least she'll know. Hopefully, I have taught her that, what, when you start to feel bad, when you start to listen to those messages that you're getting from your body, she'll know what to do. She'll know, oh, it's because I have enjoyed a little bit too much. I listened, to my tongue a little too much and tasted too many tasty things instead of, giving my body the fuel that it needs. And it's everywhere. That really is difficult. Like even the food in restaurants, like kids' menu is all crap food. It just disheartening for some of us that are just aware of that. So my kids are the ones that are like, oh really, like I can't have the third pop, and like it's free refills, mom. Like it's not about the money. Yes, you can add vegetables from the adult menu if needed, if they're not on there, but that's a requirement, especially if you want that dessert that comes with the meals, the kids' meals and stuff. Just because, and I have to admit that in my stressed out and having some of those in the midst of some of those arguments, I actually even used some of your words where you said, if you love someone, I was like, when my parents, these parents, blah, 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 I was like, they don't love you as much as I do. Oh no, that probably wasn't the nicest thing to say. What I mean is, I just love you so much. I can't stand the thought of feeding you this chemical, sugary crap that isn't going to serve you in the long run and just really make your life harder, even though that's not what it looks like from your point of view. I get it.
Well, this path of following our true north is about consistency and not following the crowd and not being deterred by the masses, right? I mean, if we truly want that true path and we truly want to live up to our potential and our design, it's not going to be the easy road necessarily, for sure. And teaching our kids too, even in that, like, am I standing up to the social norms, or am I just submitting to them because they're everywhere? That too was a big deal. I wanted that mindset to be there. Like, we don't have to do what everybody's doing. We don't have to follow that that program, because it's just not going to give you the life you love. And as my kids age, I know that if we don't have a foundation of health, they're going to have, health issues showing up. So burnout and disease and things like that are inevitable in a body that's low on fuel constantly and imbalanced and inflamed all the time. So, I mean, logically and biologically, there's a cause and effect. And if we don't, do the right thing, so to speak, the body then pays the price. And I'm not going to give my children that legacy of poor health and constantly suffering through life. So I wanted to give them a strong foundation of health, because that's to me is for their highest good.
Same. I feel like this is a topic where I could provide tons of examples and we can talk on it forever. I'm going to cut us down for a little bit so that we can keep our discussion to 30 minutes and move on to our next area. So I'm going to provide you with the tip. My suggestion for living a healthier life is to make a promise to yourself that you're going to listen to your body at least once a day. And if you're already doing this, great, make it be twice a day or 3 times a day, whatever, aligns with you. But take authentic action at least once a day. And that could look like, if you had scheduled to run and you thought you were going to exercise, but you're feeling tired and maybe you walk instead today. You still get the physical energy, but you don't do it as intensely because you're listening to your body. Eat when you're actually hungry, not because it is, scheduled or regimented meal times. Listen to your body. Am I hungry? And that's an area too where, a lot of us disservice ourselves. So it could be as easy as that, as, you know, and I'm not really that hungry right now, so I will, you know, eat something later. That makes sense. Or, you know, if you're tired, take a nap.
Yeah, listen to the body. It's very, very intelligent. So that leads us into our soul realm. And when we talk about this soul journey or soul path, it's not about chasing a goal that someone else told you is worthy, but it's about really walking, like we've been talking about, what you feel, what gives you freedom, aliveness, passion, and contribution. I think as in our 6 human needs, 2 of those needs is to grow and contribute. And I think those are inherent in each of us, whether we're paying attention to them or we've kind of stuffed them away. But that need to contribute is part of what makes the world go round, right? Whether it's to our kids or just the greater good. And if we're not living in our authentic truth and our purpose, we really don't know what to contribute, you know? So that's a big drive for me. I want to contribute. I want to grow. I want to keep evolving. So if I'm stuck in a space where I'm not contributing because I don't know what to do, that's really unsettling for me. I just don't like that space at all. And like we talked about, the path is unconventional. It's not popular. It might not be, you know, I mean, nowadays there's just like an unlimited amount of things we could do, right? To plug into to make our passion. But I think it's important to find that one true passion, or at least the core of it, the essence of it, to bring it forth to really live out my soul path. I want to leave a legacy. And I just, even for myself, I want to live fully. I don't want to leave anything left undone, because yeah, I get one go around in this life anyway. And why play the game of life in a boring way or a uneventful way or something that doesn't excite me or light me up, when I have the choice to play full out and have an amazing, you know, adventure along the way.
I feel that in our soul, this is about, you know, putting these our other 2 parts together, both our mindset and our physical body, and putting that into our soul is really what we're listening to here in living a freer life. And you can see it in us, hopefully. And I like what Roberta said, and just how passionate it feels to be living to that path. To, you know, we can tell when we're not on the right path. It feels heavy. And in my lifetime, I've certainly found that in just changing paths. You know, at one point I was a professional accountant, and that served me and that worked out really well. But then over the last few years, I've felt other callings, and I've really had to, you know, try to pull myself away from that past identity, in where I not necessarily did something wrong, but I followed what made sense to me at that time. And now I'm being called in a different direction. And it feels amazing. That old identity felt really like heavy. I didn't want to go to work anymore. I wasn't excited to show up into the office as much as I did once. And so then I knew that that wasn't for me anymore. I could trust myself and lean into the signs that I was getting in being an entrepreneur and leading, you know, myself down to this mindset trainer and personal development guide, and not only working on myself, but being a guide for others as well.
Yeah. And I think of, you know, we want to have a something that anchors us into our truth, right? It's an anchoring force, because then it's more likely to stick, or I'm going to stay with it. And I'm just going to, you know, no matter what came at me in these last 13 years with the work I'm doing in holistic health, nothing could deter me. It was fascinating, because I used to have a lot of depression, and life definitely deterred me. But for some reason, when I stepped into my truth and found this alignment with who I really am, like nothing has been able to deter me. And I've been through a divorce, and I've been through just a lot of ups and downs, like everyone in life. And I always come back to that passion. It never goes away. And every time someone gets healed or has a win, I'm just ecstatic. It's like, I'm fascinated by the human body. I never get bored with it. So I remember thinking when I first started that, you know, when I read a book that talked about our dream and our path, and it said, you know, it's something you love and something you're good at. And it's not something I have to muster up an excitement for, or a passion for. It just is there when we find that calling. So that's exciting. We don't have to work so hard at it. We just get to learn it and plug in and have fun with it, really, and stay true to our course. And so the tip I have is to create a simple mantra or affirmation that will anchor you in that soul truth. And this is a very simple way to do it, is just putting this on your mirror or somewhere. It says, I trust my path, and I'm here to be fully me. Unapologetically, to show up as who you are. Because if you were designed, we were all designed for a very specific purpose, and it wasn't uneventful or something that wasn't needed. Like, if we don't follow our path, something important won't happen. So it's really critical, I think, to live fully and to do that, because we're maybe preventing someone else from getting something they need to live fully if I don't do my part and follow my path. So that's been an inspiration also for me to realize that I'm impacting other people all the time.
Beautiful. I feel like we have, I love actually that saying that I trust myself or I trust my path. That has been definitely a mantra that has helped me lean into my full potential and listening to that voice and that soul within me. So in summary, we've given you 3 tips in 3 different areas under mindset and living empowered. We talked about aligning your thoughts with your truth and spending some time shutting out the noise and discovering, what you truly want. Under physical health and living healthy, your health goals need to align also with you and what makes sense for you. Don't be trying to follow what society suggests your body is supposed to look like or the habits that you're supposed to have. Instead, think about what you'd like to practice and start practice listening to your body and what it needs and taking empowered, aligned action each day. And then under soul, have the courage to walk your soul's path. Build trust with yourself using affirmations, and especially before any kind of meditation or visualization, to just get yourself into that mindset of trying to discover what your soul is trying to tell you.
Awesome. Thanks, Tish. So yeah, we just want to give you that open invitation to reach out and to schedule some interaction with us, some discussion. We'd love to sit with you and help you find that soul path. And if you realize that you don't want to settle for where you're at, and you know that there's more, and you don't feel in alignment with your, where you're at every day, that'll be wearing on our heart and soul if we don't wake up with a very clear passion and direction. We just invite you, because that's what we do at the Elite Mentorship Forum. We help people, we guide them into their true north, into what they're here for. Like I said, my whole model of the world is now aligned with who I am and in every area of my life. And I don't have to live in that realm of indecision or confusion anymore. And I just get to take all my energy and put it towards growth and contribution, which is really fully aligned with who I am.
Yeah, this the tips that we've shared and the teachings from today is just a small little tidbit of one of the 13 modules for our EMF program. So if you're curious, please reach out. Curiosity calls or clarity calls are free, and we're here to help and hear about where you are on your journey and how we might be able to assist you to keep growing. If that therefore concludes this week's Take Charge of Your Life discussion, we'll end with a quote. This week we picked one from Carl Jung that aligns with the authentic discussion we've been having today. He said, "The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are."
Beautiful.
Hope to see you guys next time.
Thank you, guys.